Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. Zoro has always been the kind of guy who solves everything with the strength of his blade. From the very beginning, he showed he's more than just an ordinary swordsman. He cuts steel, cuts mountains, cuts through the air, cuts promises, and never strays from his path. But now, with the recent events involving the rise of Imu, the Knights of God, and especially what Gabon said about their Haki, it's clear the world of One Piece has leveled up. And it's in this scenario that I think maybe, who knows, our beloved pirate hunter will have to go beyond the three-sword style. He's going to have to unlock something new, something that could only emerge when the spirit of a true king mixes with the steel of a true warrior. The four-sword style, something Zoro already officially revealed in the SBS. Guys, it sounds like an exaggeration, I know, but think with me. In chapter 1152, Gabon himself plainly says that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. And it's not just anyone saying that. Gabon isn't just a legend. He's probably someone who trained alongside Rayleigh, Shanks, and Roger. If he says Zoro has potential for more, then he really does. And if Luffy is already walking the path of the next Joy Boy, then Zoro also needs a proportional evolution leap. After all, the Knights of God won't fall just by old styles. They're on another level. They're treated like almost supernatural beings who don't even react to normal Haki. And Gabon made it clear the only way to face them head-on is by raising your Haki to the level of a true king. But what exactly is that level of a true king? It's not just sparking or intimidating animals. It's turning that spirit into pure offensive power. Now about the four swords. Have you thought that it might not even be literal? Maybe it is, but maybe it's a symbol of what Zoro is becoming. Remember when he used Enma and it was draining his Haki? It was like the sword had its own hunger, like it had a will of its own. And that fits with what Gabon said about advanced Conqueror's Haki. It's a manifestation of the person's own will. So maybe I think, who knows, Zoro has discovered how to manifest one more sword made purely of Haki, like a spiritual arm, an extension of his soul that serves as a blade. That wouldn't be so crazy, considering we've seen Luffy shape free forms with Nika's awakening. And if Luffy can do that with rubber, why couldn't Zoro do it with Haki? Imagine a technique where Zoro holds the three normal swords, one in each hand and one in his mouth. And the fourth is this invisible sword made purely of Conqueror's Haki, which he activates in moments of extreme pressure. It could appear as an extension of his arm, or even as a blade floating behind him, controlled by his will. This would explain how he'll cut the untouchable, how he'll overcome cursed swords, legendary blades, and even Mihawk himself, because now he doesn't fight just with his body, but with his spirit. He's become the storm itself, and maybe it's already started. Look at his fight against King, for example. There, when he finally understood how to use advanced Haki without wasting it, he took Enma to a new level. That was the moment he showed he could control a sword that tested his soul. Now, imagine Enma was just the beginning. If each sword represents a part of Zoro, the past, Wado Ichimonji, ambition, Enma, and brutality, Shusui, or the future Black Blade he'll forge, then the fourth sword is the soul itself, pure will. And that's where the weight of having Conqueror's Haki comes in. Because it's not just having this ability, it's using it as an extension of your body like Luffy does. If Luffy can hit objects without touching them, create impacts at a distance with Haki, why can't Zoro create a spiritual blade? A blade that cuts souls, wills, even curses. And the craziest part? This might be necessary precisely because the Knights of God might, who knows, not be fully human. We've already seen Imu turn Broji and Dory into demonic versions, and it seems these guys on the world government side are made of something different. And to defeat something beyond human, you need a cut beyond flesh. And notice that whenever Oda wants to show someone reaching a new level, he gives that character a form of transcendence. For Luffy, it was Gear 5. For Sanji, it was the awakening of the modified genes. For Zoro, it has to be this fourth sword. And it might come with a new technique, something that can only be activated when he puts his very soul on the line, like a Shadow King style, where he goes into Berserker mode, but with total control. He becomes the manifestation of calm destruction, a kind of samurai demon that cuts not only the body, but the enemy's essence. And all of this will probably be triggered when he faces one of the Knights of God. That moment when the enemy looks and says, "You can't cut me," and Zoro replies, "I'm not trying to cut you, I'm trying to cut what you represent." And then, without warning, this fourth blade appears. Invisible but felt, an attack that tears through the air and silences even the sounds around. But obviously, this is just the beginning of the theory. Because if Zoro is really going to awaken this new style, there are still many pieces to connect, like Shimotsuki Ryuma's role in this, what Mihawk will think, and how this will influence the final fight. If Luffy is heading toward the Haki that liberates, Zoro is going toward the Haki that judges. A type of Haki that not only imposes your own will, but serves to separate the just from the unjust. And that fits perfectly with how he is. Zoro was never much of a talker, but when he draws his sword, he makes it clear who deserves to fall and who deserves to live. It's that seriousness, that firmness that makes his Haki different. It's not a power that dances like Luffy's, it's a power that weighs, presses, and demands absolute respect. A Haki that sinks the ground, bends the air, and silences even screams. And this Haki in Zoro is not just Conquerors, it's a Haki forged in pain, promise, and discipline. He wasn't born to lead crowds with charisma, but to clear the way with his blade. And that's why when he evolves, it won't be with tricks or elasticity. It will be with precision, with cut, with a kind of Haki that focuses on the sword and the soul at the same time. We've already seen clues of this when he used advanced Haki against King. It was clear then that Zoro understood how to put his will directly into the blade. But what if that's just the first phase? If the next step is him learning to create a sword made only of Conqueror's Haki, then we're talking about something completely new in the world. Not a physical weapon, but a spiritual extension, a soul cut. It wouldn't be an ordinary sword. It wouldn't have a blade or weight, but at the same time, it would be sharper than any other. It would be the one that cuts what can't be cut. Fear, hatred, corruption, lies. A sword that cuts even concepts, like Mihawk's Yoru did when it cut a ship in half like it was butter. But now, instead of cutting things, this new sword would cut the very essence of evil. And for that, Zoro will need to master something he never even imagined: the balance between destructive instinct and total control. That's because Conqueror's Haki, at its highest level, demands not only power, but identity. You have to know exactly who you are. And throughout his whole journey, Zoro has been shaped by defeats and overcoming them. Every scar he has is a line written on his soul. And every time he raised his sword, he didn't fight just to win. He fought to honor something greater. So the fourth sword isn't just a symbol of evolution. It's a reflection of who Zoro has become. The synthesis of technique and spirit. The blade that appears when there are no more doubts about the path. Maybe it shows up in moments of crisis, when everything seems lost. When the enemies are so insane that normal swords don't work anymore. When the enemy no longer has a body to cut, only an oppressive will. And then, in that moment, the spiritual sword comes into play. Imagine the scene. Zoro standing there, already battered, blood dripping from his arms. He's holding two swords in his hands, and one in his mouth, like always. But then, as he focuses all his energy, a shadowy figure appears behind him. Not exactly a demon, but an ancient presence, a samurai spirit. Maybe Ryuma, maybe something even older. And along with this presence, the fourth sword appears, made purely of Haki. A blade only the enemies can sense, but everyone knows it's there. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.